on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we're going to make a video based on popular demand. Cheap land for living off-grid in Arizona. On our last video that we did about Arizona World War III survival guide, a lot of people became interested in the content regarding where to live off-grid. That's what this is all about. So let's go ahead and dive in here and talk about this. So as you can see, here's Arizona. What I'm going to actually do is give you guys tips for living off-grid as well as locations. So if you want to skip the tips, go ahead and fast forward a bit, and I'll try to put some timestamps below. But first thing that you need to know about living off-grid, and I've dialed this in using various different AIs, and I've had to go back and forth with the AI. We're going to move pretty quickly, but things to consider. Invest in a solar system. Arizona is one of the sunniest states in the country. Also consider well access. Drill a well, okay? It can be expensive, sometimes $35,000 to $50,000. We've talked about this before. Also, rainwater harvesting. Legal in Arizona, but hard to do because Arizona doesn't rain as much, but it's depending on location, right? Some areas can get a lot of monsoon rain. It just depends on if we're going to get a monsoon season. Some areas get snow, okay? It just depends on how wet the winter is. But if you don't get that, you may need to actually haul in some water in a water truck. So do keep that in consideration if the tanks get empty. And then also take into consideration how big you want your water catchment to be for your tank, okay? Now, you also have to take into consideration areas for zoning. Not every place is going to be zoning friendly, so you need to consider the zoning requirements. Cochise County, Yavapai County, Apache counties, those are some of the most lenient. We'll be dialing those in this list. But always check that before you buy your land. You guys need to be paying attention to this. Take notes or do whatever, but pay attention to what I'm saying because this is some important things. Obviously, there's going to be additional stuff that you have to take into consideration, but this is quite in-depth information. Also, take into consideration when the last time there was a fire or some sort of heat issues and how you can survive if it gets too hot or maybe even too cold, because some of you may be going for the mountains. And if you're off grid, and your systems don't work, what do you need to know about that? Also, clearing the brush for fire protection, manicuring your area, especially if you're in the wooded areas. Use reflective roofing and insulation to manage summer temps, okay? So ergonomically, or how you're going to actually build, okay? What you can do to, make your home more efficient, or your whatever you're living in, whether it's a mobile home unit or whatever. Gardening tips. Are you going to be doing some gardening? If you're in the desert areas, it's hard to garden. If you're in the high country, it freezes. What kind of fruits can grow, or what kind of vegetables can grow in cold temperatures? Some places get really hot summers and really cold winters. You can get both of those, especially in southern Arizona. But raised beds, shade cloth to help in desert gardening. Shade cloth can help for heat, but also for deep freezes. Maybe even consider getting a greenhouse. Now you guys see how useful this information is, right? Or you could actually do adapted crops. We talked about the 4 crops that the Native Americans grew: corn, squash. What were the other 2? We'll have to get those later, but I know corn and squash, beans, and one more were really popular with the natives, but you could see prickly pear and mesquite as well. Now, access and haulage. How are you going to get supplies in? How are you going to get supplies out? How are you going to come in and out? Are you going to have to cross a river or a wash if it's a monsoon? Stuff like that. Many off-grid areas have dirt roads. 4x4 is often necessary. This is true. So take that into consideration when building, So when you go out there and look for property, you have to say, am I going to be able to get in a shipment of wood? Or am I going to be able to get in the water tank? Are they going to be able to cross over the river? Are they going to be able to cross over the wash? Are you going to be able to get out when the river floods? Stuff like that. Legal and permitting. Some counties allow off-grid composting toilets and gray water systems. How are you going to do your sewage? And then research alternatives, AOBD. That's alternative owner-built dwelling codes. All right, so let's get into the list here because this is what you guys came for, right? So first up, we're going to go out to Snowflake. We're going to dial it in right here in Snowflake. This is just off the Mogollon Rim. In this area right here, you're going to have Heber Overguard, and then you're going to come over into here. You're going to have Snowflake here, but this whole area right here is quite out there. Okay, so we're going to go Heber Overguard and Snowflake. Let me close the little man here. All right, so this area from Heber Overguard, Sitgreaves, over to Snowflake, this is the one in particular. It's a LDS area, but you can see they've got RV parking. They've got a little airport in Taylor. But this area right here seems to be quite famous. If I take the little man and I just put him on the road, we'll just do a little tour here. You can see it's nice. It's laid back. This is not big time living here. Okay, it gets cold in the winter and then mild hot summers. By mild hot summers, it can approach 100 degrees or get close, but it doesn't go up into 110 like you get in Phoenix area. Okay, so this is Snowflake. This is one of those areas that you need to be considering if you're thinking about doing this. Now we're going to go over towards eastern Arizona, and this is a whole different area right here. This is actually St. John. You've got Concho right here. If you've ever been out here to Concho or St. John, you know it's quite isolated. This is actually in Apache County. But the area around here, very rural. It's peaceful, affordable. It's not so green, although there are some trees that grow naturally here. I would say it's more like a juniper type tree. But let's see if we can get down here and take a look at St. John. So I've actually been here recently, and they got a dollar store, and that's about it. All right. Look at that. That's St. John, Arizona. You got Concho and Alpine. Alpine's another area around here. It's got a good name, right? But, you know, this whole area right here, probably some of the cheapest land. You'll see right there is the New Mexico border. Yeah. Concho, St. John's, Alpine. All right. Now we're actually going to go. See, here's Alpine right here. This area is Alpine. It's a little bit more pine. This is actually a nice area. There's a little fork in the road there. And let me see if I can get down here to Alpine. I just want to show you guys Alpine because it was a little bit further away from St. John. It's actually past here, Eager and Springerville. But, yeah, what do you think? I recently went out here, too. Beautiful green countryside. A lot of people don't realize Arizona looks like this. And there's a lot of green going in all directions. This is on the eastern flank of the, I guess you could say, Mount Baldy, but the White Mountains in particular. And actually, if you went a little bit further south from here, you could still find some nice areas. See, it's still green. You got Hannigan Meadow. I was just talking to my dad about Hannigan Meadow right here. Got a good name, right? Sounds like a place you might want to go. But really thick forest out here. So if you're looking to live out really far away in the countryside, I'd say land's going to be a little bit more expensive up in the pines, okay? So now we're going to leave out of eastern Arizona. They call it northeastern Arizona. I'm just going to call it eastern Arizona, really, because there's the north up there in Navajo County. Now, if we go all the way over here to Kingman area, so you got Mojave County over here, one area where people are doing a lot of cheap living, where they're getting cheap land, out here in Golden Valley. Now, this is desert. Unlike what we were seeing in, say, St. John, this one's going to be a little bit more arid. They get cold winters, hot summers. So you got to take that into consideration. But you see, lots of people coming out here with their RVs. They buy a cheap house, and then, in the summer or the winter time, they leave out and they tour around the country, and then they come back. So people, they home base out here in Kingman area or Golden Valley, and that's what's really it's known for right now. There's Kingman, so you're close enough to a pretty big city. I mean, it's not a big city, but it's close enough. And so, Kingman, here's Golden Valley. This is the area in Mojave County that you'd probably want to look at. And you can get property all around here on, say, cheapland.com, maybe something like that. Now, another area that we're going to check out that's going to have some cheap land that is actually worth a look is actually just down the way here in Chino Valley. This is Paulden and Chino Valley, this little area right here. And if we take the little man and we dial it in along 89, this area's got cold winters, brisk cold winters, and summers. Pretty hot, but not too hot. This is actually north of, you can see lots of RVs. So this is anytime you see people doing the RV thing, you know that's an off-grid epicenter, right? So you have Prescott down here. I would say the drive is quite amazing. Actually, around, if we wanted to see like a nice drive, it's actually really nice around the dells, the granite dells. I'll show you the road real quick. They got snow today on this, but you can see they got this granite dells. If you've never been out here, it's kind of nice. They got a beautiful lake there, but this is one of the side streets. Anyway, the granite dells right there, that Willow Creek Reservoir right here. It's a nice lake to go around, but they also have Watson Lake. Watson Lake is probably more famous, to be honest with you, but that's the drive in between Chino Valley and Prescott. But Chino Valley up here, it's far enough away, but I would say check out Paulden. Chino Valley, Paulden. You could go east or west of here and find isolation. Another area that we're going to actually explore here is going to be the Cochise County, southeastern Arizona end. So we're going to head down to southeastern Arizona, and this here is Cochise County. So Cochise County, you've got Douglas right here. You got Agua Prieta on the other side of the border. Now, I love southern Arizona. If you've been following this channel, you know I always speak highly of southern Arizona, but you've got Bisbee out here. Bisbee's another area you can get some interesting housing. It's a little bit of a hippy-dippy town, as they say. It's a former mining town. It was one of the biggest cities in Arizona back in the 1920s and 30s. Phelps Dodge basically built it, and it's got a real rustic feel going around here in old Bisbee. Let me see if I can get you a good view of downtown Bisbee here. So this is downtown Bisbee. We've made a couple videos on the channel if you guys want to watch our Bisbee videos. We also did Tombstone, which is nearby, but you can see it looks like it's stuck in the past, huh? This is Main Street. Right there, they got a nice sign that says, the most beautiful weather in the world. That's what Bisbee claims. Let's see if I can find the sign. Might be right here on this building. Let me see if I can find the sign. Yeah, right here. The Bisbee District has the best year-round climate on Earth. I know that sign because every time I go down there, I see it and I think, really? Okay. I like how they get the nice, what do they get? The monsoons down here. They get a little bit of, it can get icy. It can get icy down here. But this is a little bit higher up in the mountains than, say, Douglas. And then they had like New Bisbee area, I guess you could call it. But that, you know, as you get away from the Queen Mine, they have this crazy lavender pit. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. This is a huge hole in the ground. You could just stop and look at the big hole in the ground. I don't think they excavated it anymore, but there it is. You can see, I mean, quite a huge hole in the ground. That's around the lavender pit. So once you leave out of Bisbee, you start heading out over there, and yeah, quite interesting. But again, this whole area around here, Warren, you could consider that one if you wanted a little bit further away. You know, some people go to Naco. Naco's another place, but Douglas, I would say, is a spot that I would say north of Douglas, maybe northeast of Douglas, or you could go northwest of Douglas. It just depends. But again, this is border country right there on the border with Mexico, Agua Prieta right there. You could actually go around here. Another area that you could check out if you wanted some beautiful land, Portal. I like Portal right here. I went up into Portal. I'd say come on down here and do some camping. Maybe stay at the Sunny Flat Campground. Look at 4.8 out of 5. Anytime you see 4.8, that tells you that place isn't playing around now, is it? Let me just show you right through the Chiricahua Cave Creek side of Portal here. Real nice, huh? Imagine living out here. You're far away. They say this is some of the best stargazing you can get anywhere in the country. In fact, over here is a Star Valley kind of area. I can't remember the exact name of it. I want to say it's called Star Valley. I know it's right out over here. It's so small that you can't even see it. I mean, somewhere around here. Arizona Sky Village, that's it. I mean, this is a real estate place, okay? And they say they get the best stargazing in the country. People also come down here for bird watching. So that whole area there. And then if we actually go up back over towards the area around Ash Fork and Williams. Let's see if we can get up here. Seligman. So you got Seligman here. Okay. Again, this is where you can find some cheap land. It's right along old Route 66, which has been basically replaced by Highway 40, but this whole area is real unique. I mean, I was recently out there just putzing around, checking out Williams and all that. And then you got Ash Fork right here. Ash Fork's another one of those areas. Let's just dial in the little man. We just took a cruise down Ash Fork here. You got the Family Dollar. It seems like a lot of these, whether it's St. John, I mean, they got the Dollar Tree, the Family Dollar. You know, it's like that's the Walmart in town in a lot of these places, is the Family Dollar. But you could see another cloudy day in the winter. They were out here, it looks like. This was around March 2025, so this is quite new. But yeah, this is the area around Ash Fork. You may consider coming out here. Hopefully you like what you see if you come out there and get some good prices. But we really just dialed it in there. Those are some of the places that you guys can be doing some off-grid living. I'll just tell you where other people do, like the motorhome place. You know, they go out there and they do a lot of motorhomes. It's actually going on down in Quartzsite. And Quartzsite's famous because it's right along the road going to good old, it's going to L.A. Yeah, Quartzsite right here. So they have like this motorhome park, like right here. I think this is where they park a bunch of motorhomes. That's real off-grid living right here. It's hot as heck in the summertime, though. I mean, in the winter, it's great, okay? People come out here in the winter, but this is like Mars-scape out here. I mean, I'm not kidding. When I say it looks like Mars, it really does. Let me just show you what it looks like. Woo! I mean, you can only imagine how hot it is out here. Hot. Really. I mean, this doesn't even look as bad as it can be. I mean, you come in off this road right over here off I-10 on the way to LA. You come down right in here and you're just looking down in August. Ooh, hot. I tell you. I mean, you could consider Gila Bend, but I'm not a big fan of Gila Bend, so I'm not going to hype up Gila Bend at all, but that's off Highway 8. You know, people can go out here. You can check out around here in Gila Bend. I mean, they got some farming going on. This is actually the Gila River Bend. This is where the Gila River bends. That's where it got its name. It's dry now. It's bone dry. I had a dream one time that this river, you could actually take this river all the way down to the Colorado from Phoenix again. When things used to run, I mean, you'd have to wonder if they were taking the river boats. I mean, probably in, I don't know, March or April. I wouldn't be surprised if you could take it from, say, Florence all the way down to right here. You know, this is kind of cool, right? Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the likes, and we'll see you on the next one.